Volume 96, The Buccaneer. Have you ever been a part of a group project in school, and then you have a partner that doesn't do any of the work, and then when it comes time to turn in the project, the slacker's like, yeah, I did that. And then the teacher hands him a $50 check? That's what this feels like. The Kaizoku, Gaikotsu Ippaire Risu, also known as the Pirate, lots of skeletons lined up, and once more by its pal title as Buccaneer. This simple series title was developed by the short-lived Digitalware, whom only made one further title, Essential Sudoku DS, a time-honored classic, and let me be the first to tell you, they're no strangers to irony. Now, I tried booting up Buccaneer on my PS2's HD loader under normal settings, and it took me to Buccaneer's very own anti-piracy measure. They built an entire minigame where you play as Peter, the anti-piracy pup. In the game, Peter berates you for using unlicensed software and engorges himself to suicide by eating an endless wave of donuts. Now, I hate to admit this, but I ended up loving this anti-piracy game more so than the real game about pirates. I guess let that be a lesson to you thieving pirates out there. If you rip off someone's work, you'll just be rewarded with something better, so go ahead and do that. Such is life. This was later removed from all future releases of the game, including the PAL version. Thankfully, I have a legitimate Japanese copy of Buccaneer, so I was able to bypass this segment to play the real game. Alright, so Buccaneer has you playing as Captain Jake Swallowtail, and you're probably starting to understand why this game didn't have a US release. He's on a voyage to the fabled island of endless treasure, but along the way he needs to find pieces of a map to get him there. You start out by sailing Jake's ship into various ghost ships along the sea. Red ships are the main objective, which will yield treasure and a map leading to a cave which holds another map, and the blue ships are optional side quests, but more on that later. Once our seafaring scallywag boards a ship, he will be given a simple objective, which usually falls into one of two categories: kill all the things on the screen, or find a treasure. I can't call Buccaneer the most original title in the Simple series. It just feels like a mashup of two successful mainstream games with a pirate coat of paint slapped on it. It's a hybrid between a Devil May Cry battle engine and a Dynasty Warriors game. I wish it were more complex than that, but think about the series we're covering here. So Jake has a sword and a flintlock pistol as his means of defense against the undead army. He alternates between weak fast attacks and usually ends on a flashy finishing move. Now, depending on how many weak attacks he's chained before hitting triangle, it'll determine what crazy move he'll execute. Some are far more useful than others, as I just fell into this aerial AoE attack for crowd control throughout most of the game, and I rarely switched it up. The more enemies Jake slays, the more souls he absorbs into a sword, which powers up into one of three different elements. When a sword is fully charged, he unleashes a semi-powerful AoE attack, and then his sword becomes imbued with an element until his bar is drained. Each enemy has an elemental weakness, so you end up switching between the crystal colors to then exploit that weakness. Not much changes whenever you switch crystals, except for the color, and the game doesn't deviate from this formula at all throughout the entire rest of the game. This is just one of those occasions where the developers don't reward the player's skill or offer any meaningful progression via a leveling system, different weapons, and armor. They just decided to pad out the experience by increasing all of the enemies' life bars until you're fighting an endless wave of giant health sponges near the end of the game. Not to say that you can't level up Jake. You sort of can. Occasionally, when you board a blue ghost ship, you enter a minigame where you run around smashing boxes. And if you're lucky, you'll find a heart to upgrade your max health or items to upgrade your max rage bar. The blue ghost ships offer you other distractions, like little challenges where you kill all the enemies under a time limit, or you try killing a giant skeleton by chucking explosive barrels at him without taking any damage in the process. They're not that special. So yeah, that's Buccaneer in a nutshell. It's an uninspired hack and slash title with endless waves of skeletons, which was an advertised feature, so I can't be mad at it for achieving what it set out to do, but it's too thematically true to itself. It's a product of unoriginality, wherein it copies mechanics from better games and then repurposes them as its own work. It never takes risks. It never tries something new. It's a completely milquetoast and safe game, which in itself is counter to the spirit of the Simple series. It's a product made for people that haven't been exposed to more entertaining options. No one's gonna look back at Buccaneer one day and say, wow, Digitalware, you totally had a style and voice of your own beyond compare. I'm so glad I read their articles, but played their games. They'd probably just make a passing comment like, wow, I'm glad Digitalware is dead now, and I hope they're buried in an unmarked grave so they can't copy anyone's tombstone. That's probably what they'd say. Thanks for watching this episode of the Simple series, and I'll see y'all next time. Some sooner than others in other forms. Until then.
To do. Workaholic. That's me. I'm the best at what I do. My job is a hard job, but tasty. People like me because I'm a good worker. That's what everybody says. Readers love my articles, then by extension they love me. Everyone needs a hook. It's how you get people to click. You know what they say, every click is another hour of life I have left. What's my secret?
What's yours? What's yours? What's your secret? What's yours? What's yours? You can tell me.
Click, 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 click. I'm still alive. Click, 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 click. I'm eternal. The secret lies in the familiarity. When the humans see something they recognize, they feel safe. You see, you can't have trouble sleeping if you never sleep in the first place.